Hello and welcome to Gamedog Saga. Today we will be talking about the saga of Southpaw Kennels champion Kyleione, Mouth of the South. To explain Kyleione, I would have to back up a bit, as many people and bulldogs led to his existence. Back in '07, Southpaw Mike was looking to get back into the dogs, as he had gotten out several years beforehand. Mike went to Southpaw Dave and asked what the blood of choice these days, as back when they were partners, they had dogs off Maverick, Nigger Toby, and Six Bits. Dave at the time was only interested in showing dogs and did not have an interest for breeding dogs. Dave was the heartbeat of Southpaw Kennels, and Mike was always more interested with just putting breedings together. Mike contacted an old friend who went by Team BDM Reggie, and Reggie informed him that the Maverick Toby 6-Bits dogs were not really fast lane anymore. Mike was dead set on Eli dogs, but just couldn't find any that caught his eye. He called Reggie back, and Reggie told him about a jip he would deal him off Grand Champion Blackjack. Mike never really liked Crenshaw dogs, but Reggie assured him this is what he wanted. She was a game plug named Nightmare, and sister to Casino's Champion Coon, 4-time winner, 1-time draw. Reggie sent her to Mike at a very fair price, and the deal was done. Mike got Nightmare, and as soon as she hit his yard, she came into heat. Mike contacted Dave, and he turned Mike on to 2 dogs that he was friends with, their owners, and that he personally saw perform. One being LoJack Kennels champion LoJack, and the second being Hurricane Kennels champion Freeway. Mike's first choice was to breed to the very hard-mouthed champion LoJack. This ultimately proved to be a big mistake, as only one winner was produced, and he went on to quit. At this time, Mike was working on a deal with Reggie to send Nightmare back to Reggie and acquire Williams Mosul Rom. This deal was struck, and Mosul arrived at Mike's yard, and again came right into heat, and again was bred to champion LoJack. Around that time, Mike was supposed to send Reggie Nightmare. It was discovered that some lies were being told on Reggie's end, and some old wounds reopened, and unfortunately a long friendship was dissolved. While the smoke was still cleared from the whole Mike and Reggie thing, Nightmare came into heat. As Mike had dogs off the Nightmare LoJack litter, and Mosul was about to pop with LoJack pups, Mike was not interested in breeding Nightmare at this time. After Mike and Hurricane started talking, it began to seem like a better and better idea to breed Nightmare to Champion Freeway. Many consider Champion Freeway a Crenshaw dog, but this is not true. Freeway represents 20 plus years of Hurricane's breeding, combining the blood he purchased and used from Mr. Busenbark as well as Mr. Crenshaw. Freeway did not have the mouth that LoJack possessed, but was a better dog in all other areas, and came from behind once to win. In other words, he was game, and the name of the game is game. So, Hurricane decided to drive Freeway over to Mike's place as she was almost out of heat and get them stuck once. If it took, then it took. If not, maybe they would try again someday. So they bred them once, and guess what? It took! Nightmare had 7 puppies on January 1st, 2009. These puppies acted much better than the LoJack puppies, which doesn't really mean anything, but little did they know how much that it did in this case. The deal Hurricane and Mike made was to split the litter, and the odd pup would go to Mike. So the day came, and Hurricane arrived at Mike's house along with Skinny Man Kennels, and he picked his 3. Mike took first pick, which was a jip that Hurricane made the next 2 picks, both males. Mike made a pick of a male, and Hurricane picked the other female, and drove off, and everyone was happy. I bring this up because ironically the 2 leftover pups were to be the best of the lot. Well, SBK Dave agreed to take one of the male pups. Mike tried to give him one more, but there was no room, and since Dave was busy and didn't know when he could get down to Mike's, he told Mike just reach in and grab him a male. Little did he know that those words would change his life. Mike was on his way up to see Dave one day and reached in to grab a pup. All the pups moved to the back of the pen and started to bark all but one lanky male who was climbing the wall of the pen. Mike called him the monkey dog because he was always climbing, and by chance he was the easiest to reach, so he was grabbed and was dropped off to Dave. One male was given to Mike's nephew and was stolen, and one male was sold for $400 to a newbie who went on to win with him before he was killed in a yard accident by a bigger dog. Many have asked why the breeding between Nightmare and Freeway was not repeated. At the time, the pens were all full and no breedings were planned. Mike tried to farm her to those in the camp, but no one had space. To this day, everyone involved regrets that we didn't keep Nightmare. LoJack's owner contacted Mike and said he needed Nightmare and wanted to buy her as a favor. Little did Mike know, she was sold for 4 times what he charged for her before the sale even took place. So much for friends. Well, the monkey dog grew, and this was all Dave from this point on. There would be stories of his aggressive nature, and he seemed to dislike people as much as animals. Dave really didn't like this dog, as he was a nuisance and at one point thought about having him put down. He would bark all day, and when he saw anything that moved, he would go crazy, disrupting the whole neighborhood. When he realized he wasn't in reach of his desired target, he would become more enraged to the point that not even Dave could calm him down. He named him Kyleione, after a longtime friend, sort of as a joke, but Kyleione was not a joke by any stretch. Dave had at the time several other more promising prospects, and Kyleione was not a priority. As Kyleione grew, he matured into a strange-looking dog. He sure wasn't going to win any confirmation shows. He was 2 dogs long, tall and rangy, and had bad ears to boot. He was definitely not a looker. Finally, the day came when Dave said he couldn't take this damn dog's barking all day at everything. He took him to be started on an experienced dog. He had them picking their dog up in 2 minutes. His next role was into a dog that was going to be showed, and it was a favor to Dave to give Kyleione some time. Kyleione destroyed him for 30 minutes and killed that dog, stone cold dead. Well, some months passed, and Pompano Kennels was bragging on a dog they had that was wrecking everything in rolls and supposed to be a gamer blood lined in that freeway stuff. Ha! The weight was 36 pounds and the date was set. This was a difficult keep, and Kyleione came up limping a few times as he is a real easy dog to overwork. Dave couldn't get a full keep with him, but his no-excuse mentality would not let him call it off. The other side was doing a lot of bragging about what they were going to do to Kyleione and Dave. The day came, 36-pound males, Pompano Kennels Tiger, on weight, and SPK's Kyleione, 35.5 pounds. From the word release, Kyleione was on Pompano Kennels Tiger, and had him singing from the 2-minute mark. Kyleione ran hot at about 15 minutes, and they swapped it out at around 25 minutes. Kyleione recovered and got a second wind. He continued to destroy Tiger until an out-of-hold was called, and Tiger did not complete a scratch at 38 minutes. One-time winner, Southpaw Kennels Kyleione. About 6 months had passed, and Dave and a buddy were working Kyleione on a hide. His buddy hid the hide from him, big mistake. Kyleione locked onto his arm and cost Dave a doctor's bill and his friend some flesh. Was this bully son reincarnated? We remembered the stories that Mr. Clemens told us about the famous bully son dog, and how he would grab someone and hurt them, and man, they had a lot in common. Dave knew he couldn't bring just anyone around Kyleione, and he had to be thoroughly secured. Well, a few more months passed, and word was out that some boys from the north part of the state had an ace-faced dog named Black, who was a 2-time winner looking to make champion Kyleione. The show was set at 36 pounds, and Dave got more of a keep on him this time, but he did not get a full keep. But the time came, and he carried him up the road with his date with Destiny. There was a lot of talk preceding the show, as the other camp felt the style of Black would stop the rough style of Kyleione. Wrong. Bogart's Black 2-time winner versus Southpaw Kennels Kyleione 1-time winner. Black weighs in at 36 pounds even, and Kyleione weighs in at 35.5 pounds. From the moment the ref says release, Kyleione is on Black and hurting him bad. Black is everything they said, as he is too doing severe damage to Kyleione's head and face. At 20 minutes, Kyleione is a little hot and takes a bad face chewing from Black, but is soon back to dishing out the punishment. This beating goes on until 43 minutes, when Black is up to scratch and he makes a game effort, but simply can't go, as his wounds were mortal. 2-time winner Southpaw Kennels Kyleione. This would be his toughest opponent to date, and Kyleione sustained severe damage to his head and face, but never flinched or let up. He just destroyed the dog in front of him as always. Now the word was out, and shows would be harder to come by. This suited Southpaw, as Kyleione needed time to heal. The summer was long and hot, and Southpaw was going over all the details of Kyleione's previous shows. He realized although Kyleione was strong at 35.5, he was much stronger on the chain, and decided he would put Kyleione's weight out at 37 pounds. This would prove to be the wisest decision Southpaw could have made. Well, summer was over, and still no takers until Iron Warrior of Grand Champion Machiavelli fame and a close personal friend of Southpaw came to him with an opponent. This kennel thought they had the dog to not only beat Kyleione, but do it in convincing fashion. Well, the date was set, and as always, Southpaw didn't care what odds he faced, or who was saying what. All he needed was an opponent, and Kyleione would do the rest. To avoid some of the previous issues that came up during Keep at 36, he obtained the assistance of longtime friend Big H. Now keep in mind Big H has known Kyleione all his life and has fed and housed him at times. Someone forgot to tell Kyleione. One night early in his keep, Southpaw dropped him off and Kyleione was in one of his moods, and unprovoked he hit Big H, who returned the favor with a shovel. This pissed him off even more, and he went into one of his rage-induced states. Southpaw knew this would be challenging, as he needed Big H's assistance to ensure all corners were covered during this keep. Luckily, Big H was a good sport and forgave Kyleione, even if Kyleione didn't forgive him. Well, everything was going well. No real setbacks this time until all of it happened at once. Kyleione was being walked out, and Big H's neighbor came running up to see the cute doggy, when BAM! Kyleione bit her ass. After some sweet talking on Big H's part and a little bribery, everything was good, but Kyleione was becoming increasingly aggressive to dogs, humans, and whatever. Southpaw knew he could no longer trust Kyleione around anyone other than himself. He was a one-man dog, and that was that. Well, the keep was finishing, and everyone was confident. Kyleione was looking and feeling better than ever before. Southpaw seemed to find his true weight, but only the test of the show would tell if this was truly a better weight. Word was getting back that the other camp was confident and Kyleione was in for a huge upset. The problem is no one told Kyleione. Show day arrived and both parties met halfway. Titusville Kennels Ugmo Jr., son of Grand Champion Ugmo, versus Kyleione two-time winner, both dogs right on weight. Southpaw had him in the corner waiting for the ref to say release, and he could just feel the energy flowing through Kyleione's body. To say he was focused would be an understatement. Seconds seemed like hours until the words "release your dogs" filled the air. Before the ref could get the words out completely, Kyleione was on top of a downed dog, opening up holes you could put your thumb into, and shipwrecking Ugmo's shoulders. Everyone at Pitside was shocked, as Ugmo was supposed to be a bad dog. Everyone except Southpaw and company, as they knew what Kyleione was going to do. By 15 minutes, Ugmo was shocky and dying. By 23, Titusville Kennels was offered a scratch to continue. Ugmo Jr. was unable to go, making Southpaw Kennels and Kyleione the winners, and new champion Kyleione. Everyone present enjoyed what they witnessed, as it is a rare a dog of Kyleione's caliber is shown. I asked many that were present if they thought Kyleione was better than several famous badasses of the past and recent past. Southpaw's answer, I believe, was best. Quote, "I don't know about who was better, but I think after tonight it is safe to say that he is in that elite group with those badass dogs. I would like to thank all those who provided information for this interview, and all those who contributed to Champion Kyleione's success." In the end, it was Southpaw Kennels Dave and his dog Champion Kyleione, a dog no one else could ever or should ever own. In memory of SPK Morris, Kyleione's litter was the last breeding that Morris was involved in before he passed. I know he is proud of Dave and Kyleione. R.I.P. To be continued.